Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Before I get stuck into today's episode, I need to make a correction. Yesterday, when I was talking about Lunchly, which is MrBeast, Logan Paul, and KSI's new Lunchables competitor brand, I said that it was going to be Prime Energy, as in the energy drink in these Lunchable or Lunchly prepackaged lunches for children. And I was like, how can they do that? Anyways, a few of you guys corrected me. It is Prime Hydration. So that makes a lot more sense. And I just wanted to say I so appreciate how kind you guys are. Whenever I make a mistake in fact checking or anything like that, you guys are always so sweet about how you deliver the correction to me. And I just really appreciate it. So I just wanted to say thank you. I know not everyone has an audience like that. And obviously, when let's say a YouTube video or if a podcast episode gets a lot of views, a lot more than usual, maybe it kind of goes out into the stratosphere and then people are not as nice. But for the most part, my core infinite scroll, mini scroll audience, you guys are so sweet and I so appreciate it. And you guys always are so sweet, even when you have a difference of opinion. Obviously the story that I reported on yesterday, the Matt and Abby story, was also kind of controversial, and I knew that my opinion might not go over super well. And I was just open to hearing, maybe I was completely wrong. And a lot of you guys came through with some great feedback and it was delivered so kindly. And you guys are just so smart. You think of things that, I don't think of. And I so appreciate you guys. And I feel like I have such a good, smart audience and I love it. All right, let's get into the stories for today. I have 3 stories. Well, actually, I have 2 stories and then I have officially my review of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which I have been putting off because I've wanted to do it justice. And I decided, you know what, if I don't do it this week, I'm never going to do it. So I just need to rip the Band-Aid off. But I'm so excited to talk to you guys about that. Okay, some more MrBeast news to start it off. MrBeast and Amazon together are being sued by contestants from Beast Games. I can't believe that I was sitting here yesterday saying that I feel like everything that's happened with MrBeast and his PR image is just all over the place right now. And I feel like this is going to really harm his chances of working with entertainment studios and Hollywood again in the future. And I think that this particular lawsuit, him being sued alongside the studio that he's working with, I think this is going to be the nail in the coffin, in my opinion. So, adding to what is probably the worst few months of MrBeast's life, he is being sued alongside Amazon for how they allegedly treated contestants on their show. On September 16th, a lawsuit was filed against MrBeast and Amazon on behalf of 5 participants in the Beast Games reality show. So for context, Beast Games is set to be the biggest competition show ever, with a winning prize of $5 million. Around 2,000 people allegedly competed in Las Vegas for a spot, with 1,000 contestants making it to the final Amazon Prime show. Rosanna Pansino, as we know, YouTuber who has been very vocal about her participation in a MrBeast show years ago, and then now she's been kind of acting as a messenger, almost like a mouthpiece is maybe not the right word, but like a messenger for some of the people that competed in this particular show. She's sharing their stories on social media. So she shared stories of participants being denied food, medication, and even new clothes during filming. Claims that now appear to be corroborated by this new lawsuit. The lawsuit seeks class action status on behalf of all Beast Game contestants, alleging multiple causes of action related to the chronic mistreatment and neglect that they endured. The suit claims that production created conditions that led to emotional breakdowns, while also denying participants proper meals, rest breaks, and more. They also claim that MrBeast's production company failed to pay minimum wages and overtime, and failed to prevent sexual sexual harassment and expose contestants to, quote, dangerous circumstances and conditions as a condition of their employment. The plaintiffs seem to be focusing on the issue of sexual harassment, with contestants alleging that the show created a hostile environment for women. Quote, I expected to be challenged, but I didn't think I would be treated like nothing, less than nothing. And as one of the women, I can say it absolutely felt like a hostile environment for us. One statement from a contestant reads, we honestly could not have been respected less as people, much less employees, if they tried. So yeah, I don't imagine that production studios will touch MrBeast again for a very long time after this. And this makes me sad for the stain that this might put on like creators and internet entertainment as a whole when it comes to how Hollywood and traditional media view this industry. You know, it's been so difficult for creators to parlay their success online into traditional opportunities, like traditional media opportunities, and having the biggest YouTuber of all time fumble this opportunity so hard to the point where the production company, like Amazon is, or I guess the network, is being sued alongside him. I can't imagine that this is going to do anything good for Hollywood's perception of working with creators. Okay, the next story that I have for you guys is a little bit of tech news. So YouTube is to launch a new feature called Hype, which is designed apparently to help smaller creators. So Hype is a new promotional system within YouTube. The platform is introducing a quote unquote like hype button under each video and a leaderboard that features the most hyped videos from creators with fewer than 500,000 subscribers. So creators who have under 500,000 subscribers, they're the only ones, I guess, that qualify for this. Quote, it's focused specifically on smaller channels and what people specifically choose to recommend rather than just what they watch, writes The Verge. While uplifting smaller channels, the Hype feature also aims to build stronger communities on YouTube by letting viewers feel more involved and supporting their favorite creators' success. Quote, there's something alluring about being early to something cool, to being the one to share it with the world. It makes people feel invested in the things they're promoting, The Verge writes. In the era of duets and stitches and remixes, viewers are creators and creators are viewers, and giving everyone a way to grow made sense to YouTube. So the mechanisms behind Hype do seem a bit complicated because there are various requirements for both creators and the users. Videos can only be hyped within the first 7 days of posting, and users are limited to 3 hypes per week. And users, I mean like viewers. Each hype is worth a specific number of points, which inversely correlates to the channel's subscriber count. The Verge writes, quote, the idea is that smaller channels should be able to hit the leaderboard too, so each hype to a smaller channel will be worth more points. The 100 videos with the most total points hit the top of the leaderboard. The leaderboards will be country specific with a long-term goal of making them personalized to a user. If I am able to get this feature, especially in Australia, I don't know when that will be rolled out, but I will let you guys know because I think that would be so cool to test for our YouTube viewers. All right, guys, it is time. It is time for my review of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I do want to preface this by saying I have not consumed any reviews, any opinions. I have avoided all content related to this show because I wanted this to just be like my own raw, authentic opinion on the show. So I don't know, these opinions I'm sure are not completely unique and new, but they are mine. Okay, so first, overall, I loved this show. To me, it felt like a younger, more refreshing version of Housewives. And the reason why it felt like that to me is because the women didn't shy away from discussing difficult topics or personal scandals. Like, reality TV is so curated now because people are worried about their public image, and that's especially true for the Housewives. And I understand the Housewives, a lot of them have a lot to lose, but I would also argue that the women on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives have possibly more to lose because they are so ingrained, or like ingrained's probably not the right word, but they're so, yeah, maybe ingrained in a religion that has so many, like has such a strict moral code. So they could so easily lose their community based on what happens on this show. So I kind of thought that might impact this show more than it did. I found that they were so open to talking about personal scandals. They talked about things that I was shocked that they opened up about, like Whitney's RSV video, her husband being on Tinder, Taylor swinging, her domestic violence arrest, Demi's Fruity Pebbles, Macy's husband never wanting to have sex with her, Jen's husband's gambling problem. I'm sure there's other things that I'm missing, but they brought up so much, and none of them ran away. You see on Housewives and other reality shows so often a cast member brings up a scandal or something and that housewife gets so frustrated and they're like, I'm not talking about this. Or in some instances, they'll break the fourth wall and be like, I can't believe you brought that up on camera. They're just like, bravo, 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 or whatever, to hopefully make it so that it won't air. We see that all the time on reality TV. And these women, I'm sure it's just because it's their first season. They wanted to make good TV. They don't feel in the driver's seat as much as kind of veteran reality TV stars do. We do kind of see that flip eventually once a reality star feels invaluable to a franchise. They will feel like they have more power and therefore they can kind of call the shots on what's brought up on camera and not. But these women, they aired it all out. Now, in terms of my opinions of the cast, I know Macy is a pot stirrer, and the few things that I have not been able to avoid online, I have seen a lot of people don't like her. At least they kind of call her the low-key villain. But I loved her. I really, really liked how she defended all of her girlfriends, whether that was genuine or not. And sorry, I should say that when I talk about this show feeling more refreshing or authentic than Housewives, I don't mean that it's not overly produced. It absolutely is. There were so many moments, in this show where it was so obvious that producers told someone to call that person or, set up those games when they were away for Macy's birthday and they played that truth box game. That was obviously not actually Demi's idea. I'm sure it was producers, right? So I'm not saying that it was not overly produced. And I think Macy played the role, of course, of pot stirrer and kind of on the fence so that she could be that bridge between the feuds. But I really liked how she defended all of her friends, all of the women, about their bad partners. I like that she just told Taylor straight up, I don't like Dakota because of how he was speaking to you. I think that's kind of bold, especially for these women who are in such a patriarchal culture and religion. I liked how Demi was also very much that on that side as well. She was, kind of coming for Jen. Her and Jesse were kind of coming for Jen about Zach's behavior, and I don't think that was necessarily the right way to deliver it. I appreciate that they could see his patterns, that they could see his narcissism. I don't know if they used the word abusive, but in my opinion, from what we saw, I would say he was being abusive to Jen. I appreciate that they were being so open and honest with her about that. I don't like their delivery. I think that they were getting almost mad at Jen. And I think in those situations, that can often make the person shut down and shut their friends out of their lives. And I think that's kind of what's happened, right? Jen has moved across the country with Zach. Zach's taken her away from Utah. She's not really part of mom talk anymore, as far as I know, because she's not there, obviously, physically. And I don't think she'll be on season 2 if there is a season 2, because she doesn't even live in Utah anymore. And now she's on social media, defending her marriage, defending Zach. I would be interested to know if she's kept relationships with those women. I can't imagine after Zach saw the show and after his family saw the show that they're very happy with her being friends with them. So yeah, I think their delivery was not the right way in that scene, but I really liked seeing them tackle that issue because, again, we don't really see that on reality TV. I mean, I watch literally every Housewives franchise. I watch Kardashians, I watch all the major ones, and it's very rare to see to see women so openly and honestly talk about that. And even in real life, to have that very open conversation with your friend would be very, very difficult to say, I think your husband is mistreating you. I really appreciated that side of it. I also think that this show in general has been really good PR for Taylor, because Whitney was so horrible, she made Taylor, who legitimately in the middle of the season or at the beginning of the season was arrested for domestic violence that led to her child being hurt. Like, that is a low bar, but it actually made Taylor look good because Whitney was so blatantly horrible to all the women. And I also think the Taylor that we saw in episode 1 was not the Taylor we ended up seeing the rest of the season. I do think her arrest humbled her, and I was pleasantly surprised by her in several scenes throughout the rest of the show, except obviously her constant excuses for Dakota. Obviously, Dakota and Zach are the worst. Also, Michaela, she looks so much like Leighton Meester. That's all I could see when she was on screen. But I am very disappointed that they tackled so many issues with the women and their husbands, and they talked so openly about how they're in this very patriarchal religion and how they get married before their frontal lobes are even developed and all this stuff. But no one brought up the fact, and I'm sure it's just because it's normal in their friend group now because they've been together for so long, but no one brought up the fact that Michaela got pregnant at 16 to her now husband, who was 21 at the time. That is so messed up. And again, I am sure that was kind of normal at the time, and I'm sure that they're just used to it because they've been in their friend group for so long and they've been together for so long. But I was like, can someone please mention this? This is crazy. Okay, now I wanted to talk about the most fascinating revelation that I had from the show. Again, this is probably not some groundbreaking opinion. I am sure people are talking about this all over Reddit and, all over the internet. I'm sure this has been said, but I haven't consumed any of that, like I said. Okay, so I could not believe how seriously they take mom talk. I thought it was the funniest thing ever because they talk about it like it's this really important institution in their lives, right? And I was laughing along thinking this is insane. And then I realized, oh my God, they talk about mom talk like it's a church. They have created their own mini religion in their lives with mom talk. They all abide by this set of standards or these guidelines around mom talk. They make collective decisions about what would be appropriate or not for mom talk. When Whitney was offered the vibrator sponsorship, they all talked about it collectively, if it represents mom talk well and if she should do it. So much of the season is dedicated to them not knowing the direction of mom talk because they don't have a clear leader anymore because there's this tension between Taylor and Whitney. And I realized that I think for these women, mom talk represents a matriarchal version of Mormonism to them, an expression of their religion if the women were in control or at least on more of an equal playing field. And that's the messaging that they keep telling us about mom talk. They keep telling us that mom talk is this really empowering thing for them. You can see that through their frequent discussions of how they talk about how they're the breadwinners of their family quite a lot on the show. Their frequent mentions of how mom talk is taking on the patriarchy, about how mom talk is there to support progressive Mormon women. I feel like they are inadvertently creating their own idealized culture or religion through mom talk that values women or at least, like I said, puts them on kind of an equal playing field to men. And I think that's the reason why mom talk as, a TikTok collective and also now then the show have both been so successful because all of the women are on the same page. To them, mom talk represents something bigger. And I mean, they keep saying that on the show, but I don't find that they articulate it well. And I think it's probably because they're not super conscious of it. And I think that this kind of inadvertent creation of a mini religion within their big patriarchal religion, I think it makes sense that has emerged. They all grew up in this very high demand religion and that's all they know. And so it makes sense that they're repeating, those patterns and those cultural norms and that organization almost within their miniature social group. But yeah, like I think it works and they're so successful because all of the women are on the same page. And you can really see that. Like they're all very supportive of each other. And I think that's why Whitney was ostracized because she was not acting in the best interest of the group. She was doing what the Real Housewives do, which is acting in the best interest of the show. She was acting outside of the guidelines, these arbitrary kind of invisible guidelines that Mom Talk has created for it to function. The way that these women are supposed to be functioning and acting within these guidelines that Mormonism has set out for them, but they're trying to break free of it. And so they've created Mom Talk, which gives them the sense of security because it's still kind of related to Mormonism. Like, they're all still Mormon and they're still kind of like, some of them are living more Mormon than others, but now they have this group that is letting them have a bit more expression, a bit more freedom than Mormonism, and they don't have to stray too far, but they can kind of experiment within the confines of Mom Talk, and they know where those boundaries are because, like I said, these are women that have grown up with knowing nothing other than being in a box. So to just not be in any type of box anymore, not living by any type of guidelines or social construct, that would be really challenging. So I don't know. I don't know if that's an absolutely wild take, but that's what I got from it. I highly recommend this show. I think it's so good. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like looking at it way too deep, but I literally had chills the whole time I was watching it. I was obsessed. I really hope there's a season 2. And I really hope, I don't think it's going to happen, but I really hope that Taylor gets away from Dakota and that Jen gets away from Zach. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. It means so much to me. It helps me grow. It helps me keep going. I love you guys, and there will be a deep dive tomorrow, and then I'll be back on Monday with Mini. Okay, bye.